Hello, hello, my lovely Scorpios. Welcome back to the channel today. We are going to be doing your reading for February 12th through the 25th. Woo, okay, Scorpio, you got some cards coming out here. Let's go ahead and start pulling your cards, and then we will get started. So far, Scorpio, you have 3 major arcanas out here. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's keep going. All right, all right. Wow, okay. There we go. We got 2, 3. You have 5 major arcana cards that ended up coming out here. So, Scorpio, you have some big changes, big things happening for you here. We're going to scoot these guys down a little bit, just so you can see them. So, with there being an abundance of major arcana cards, just to start off, there is, as we were saying, some big stuff happening for you, a lot of big changes. Now, I feel like a lot of what is happening is you are being challenged on your foundations. You are being challenged on the way that you have been handling things. Scorpio is a fixed sign, and so personal change can be pretty challenging for fixed signs. Simply because, they are comfortable in routine. They are comfortable with the things that they have been doing. And so making personal change requires a lot more effort than, say, mutable signs or, things like that. So, Scorpio, personal change is something that is, very challenging, but when it does happen for you, it happens in big ways. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing here is that, you are making some personal changes, mainly for yourself in the way that you have been, approaching things. And so, with that in mind, lots of personal change, lots of personal growth with these changes. So, we're working with that energy here. We're going to start off your reading here with your Monday card, the Empress in reverse. So normally in the upright, this card is a person who is very confident. They have strong feminine, maybe even sometimes strong sexual energy for themselves. They are someone who is within their abundance, within their wealth. This is a person who can create something out of nothing and they can build it. The pomegranate, I don't know if you can see it. The pomegranate that the Empress holds is that representation of, the sexual energy a little bit. It's meant to represent that, the Empress is someone who can take something and grow it. So sometimes this can represent, fertility in a way. I don't see that as what is happening here. I see this as more of like, just the way that you're viewing yourself at this time. Now, with this being in the reverse, I feel like you are, not viewing yourself in this way, or you're attempting to see yourself as this person, maybe even projecting this image of yourself without it necessarily being the truth of who you really are. Sometimes, when we are feeling insecure, we can kind of project these images of ourselves where we're trying to seem more confident or more secure than we really are. And that's kind of what I feel like is happening here, Scorpio, with this Empress card in reverse, is that you are struggling to see yourself as this person who is, beautiful and desired and, abundant, able to create things. You're struggling to see yourself that way, but you're still trying to project the image as though you are, not this way. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, let's move on. The next card here you have is another major arcana card. It's the Tower in reverse. And this is that big change that we were talking about. The Tower is things, or it's a event that happened in your life that caused you to really examine your foundations, examine the way that you've been building things up. The Tower is actually, there's this old Bible story about the Tower of Babel. These people trying to build up this tower in order to reach the heavens, trying to, place themselves above God in the Christian Bible or whatever. And that's kind of where the tower gets its, image from, is the building up of the hubris, the building up of the pride, putting yourself above divinity, above other people, thinking yourself as better than. And in the way that the story goes is that, the tower crumbles, and then the people of Babel are spread out across the world with different languages. So now, obviously, whatever your religious affiliation is totally fine here. We're not specifically Christian versus other religions. All other places are welcome here, especially on this channel. But that is kind of where the basis of the tower is when you build something up from hubris, from not having trying to build something up greater than what it is, from a place of pride, trying to, build yourself up better than, place yourself above other people, we get knocked back down off of our high horse. We get knocked back down again. And so the tower here is that event. This is when you are knocked back down to your foundations, and you have to pick up the pieces and think about, why did this happen? This happened for a reason, but why did it happen to me? What was this was the result of some actions that maybe I did or did not take. And, picking up these pieces, and when you do that, you get to decide what direction you choose to take. Do you continue to try to put the pieces back together and build up this tower again? Do you build back up out of pride? Or do you choose to take the pieces and build something new? Go off and do something new for yourself. Make your place somewhere other than, the prideful place that you have been. Now, I know that was kind of a long tangent. With this card being in the reverse, I feel like there is some resistance to this build-up, to this new building of yourself, to this new building of your foundations. It is really hard to take a look at yourself deep down and think about, the way that you've been doing things and the way things have been going. And it is very hard and very challenging for a lot of people to take a look at their actions and the way they've been doing things, and to consciously make a choice to do things differently. So the tower is this challenging moment for you where, you have this kind of old image of yourself. You've been projecting this old image or opinion of yourself, and now you're in this place of it's not really working anymore. And you have to either, keep doing things the way that they've been doing, the way that you've been doing things, and you're going to keep getting the same results of things that you've been getting, or you have the opportunity to make a change and start trying to do things differently. So that's what this tower card is here for you, the tower in reverse. Now, right after this card on Wednesday, this is actually Wednesday the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, you have the Judgment card in reverse. Judgment is, a lot of these a lot of these cards from the tarot have their place in old religious stories. And the Judgment card is, based off of Judgment Day, when the dead rise from their graves and they're being called to, a new life outside of their bodies within divinity, right? And that's just where the basis of these of these cards come from. I'm not saying these things because of like my, religion or whatever. So Judgment Day is about, when you see these mirrors here, it's about reflecting on yourself, reflecting on the things that you've been doing, and choosing to walk into a new life, choosing to, in the case of Judgment Day, rising from the graves and, living within divinity. And so in this case, judgment, sometimes in reverse, this can be suspending judgment. But I feel like people often see it as like judgment of others, judgment of yourself. And while that is kind of true, this is more of like that pinnacle point where you have the choice to live a new life. You're being called into a new purpose and a new opportunity for yourself. And whether or not you take up the mantle and do something different is up to you. It's up to you whether you do it or not. No one can make you make changes. It has to be something that you see within yourself that you choose to reflect on and change. So choosing to do something different, choosing to take a really deep look at yourself and thinking about, the way things have been going, the way you've been handling things, and Even taking a look at like your initial reaction to a lot of things. Oftentimes our initial reaction to something is our, it's our programming. It's the way we've always done things, or the way that we were maybe taught, or, the way that we were influenced to handle things. So like, if your initial reaction to something is aggression, it's a learned reaction, and we can learn new reactions. Your initial reaction does not have to be your actual reaction. You can have this initial reaction, and it doesn't make you a bad person to have these feelings, but being able to take a step back from, actually doing this initial reaction, taking a step back to, think about things before you do it, that is a very important tool to learn. And so that's kind of what this opportunity being presented to you is in the beginning. Let's move on to Thursday. You have the Six of Swords. And this is the choice. This is the opportunity to move away. The Six of Swords is past hurt. Things that have happened to us in the past that were very painful. But the Six of Swords is also our opportunity to leave it in the past. Instead of taking this weight with you into the future, taking this pain with you into the future, it's about leaving it behind, understanding that you don't have to carry this thing anymore. And like I was saying, our initial reaction to things does not have to be the way that we actually do things. And this is what this Six of Swords is about. It's about having the courage to leave the things behind. Not just the things that have hurt you, but, the hurt for yourself, painful things happening. We tend to kind of sit in this energy of thinking about it over and over again, and we keep hurting ourselves. We keep kind of reopening the wound, when we really need to be, learning to, the hurt's never going to go away. It's not something that's going to, it's always going to kind of be there in some way, but choosing to not let it have any power over you. That is what this Six of Swords is about. So Scorpio, even though I was saying these kind of hard things at the beginning about choosing to have a new reaction, choosing to do things differently, the Six of Swords here on Thursday is your opportunity. So you may be given the opportunity to flex those new skills that you're learning, the opportunity to move away from, these painful things, or maybe even sometimes these grudges that we've been holding on to, and choosing to try something new. Let's look at your Friday. Here you have the Knight of Swords in reverse. Now, when you see this card, first off, I'm going to pick up the Six of Swords here again. You can see that they have very similar color palettes, which means that we're working with very similar energy. They're both swords cards, so, of course they're going to be somewhat related. They're related to our thoughts. And you can see that this Knight of Swords that's in the reverse is actually looking towards this Six of Swords. When you place them down, it's facing in this direction towards the Six of Swords. So the Knight of Swords in reverse tells me that, you may be kind of stuck in the past a little bit with this thought. You may be thinking about these past things on this day. You may even be kind of revisiting this energy a little bit. And I would just caution you, you're leaving things in the past for a reason. It happened, it's done, it's over with. We don't always get, perfect, beautiful closure for things, and we don't always get the last word. And this kind of tells me a little bit that you are kind of thinking about these past things. You're going into the past within your mind, maybe thinking about the way that things could have been different. Maybe you're thinking about the things that you should have done instead. And I would encourage you to, get out of the past, Scorpio. Get out of the past. Stop thinking about the things that have happened. Start thinking about the things that you can do now. The Knight of Swords almost feels like thinking about like revenge in a way. And I don't mean that you are thinking about, well, I kind of do mean that. It's almost like wanting to go back and get the, not necessarily just revenge, but getting the closure that maybe we didn't receive from this painful experience that we just went through, that we are trying to leave behind. This is you kind of thinking about wanting to go back and, get back at the person who maybe caused you this pain. But again, like I've been saying, this is towards the past. And whether or not you choose to stay in the past or move towards the future is up to you. I would encourage you to start thinking about the future here. And I do kind of see you thinking a little bit about it here in this second week. We do see kind of a shift of, the higher thinking energy. So, sometimes we have to think about the past to process it, but don't go back into it and don't hang out in that energy. Don't sit here and reminisce and make yourself upset again over something that's already happened. Anyway, let's move on. Saturday, you have the Two of Wands. This is an opportunity for change. This is an opportunity for a new direction. So Scorpio, like I was saying, you have the chance here to do something different. You have the opportunity presented here to do something new. And, as I said, there are two options presented to you. The Two of Wands here. There's two choices. Sometimes, we find ourselves at this crossroad of needing to go somewhere else, and we can kind of get stuck in being comfortable with where we've been and not choosing to move towards the new. We stay on the same road we've been on. And like I said, Scorpio, this is your choice. You get to choose, and it's up to you which one you choose. But make sure that, when you do commit, that you commit. If you choose to stay in this past energy, then don't be surprised when things keep happening the way that they have been. Don't be surprised when you get the same thing back again. Because, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you hang on to the past and you keep doing things the old way, you're going to keep getting what you got. But if you choose to move in a new direction and try things differently, you just might see something even better than where you've been. And everything that happens is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to gain the wisdom and take that with you into a new thing. So, if you do commit to a new path, make sure that you're not regressing yourself back into the old way that you've been doing things. Make sure that you truly commit to doing things differently and that you actually follow through with that energy and don't regress back into the old energy. And finally, on Sunday, you have the King of Pentacles. So, Scorpio, I will say that whatever decision you do make is going to be one that is financially lucrative for you. This is going to be you. It's not just finances for Pentacles. It is also like our foundations, our home, and the physical place that we have for ourselves. As I said, our foundations. It's the things that we have at the end of the day that hold us up, our grounding energy. And so, Scorpio, on Sunday here, you are very grounded. You are within your energy of handling your, not just finances, but also your emotional energy, your physical energy. The King of Pentacles is someone who knows when to invest and when to, sell and let things go. This is the person who knows when to pull back when things are not going good and when to invest when the time is right, And so, Scorpio, this is you, whatever decision it is that you make, this is you making a decision that is actually good for you. You're thinking about yourself and what is going to be best for you. And like I said, whatever decision you make is going to be one that pulls you in this direction. Let's move on to Monday here on week 2. And you have the Ace of Swords. So I actually really like to see this. This is choosing a new direction. The aces in the tarot are new beginnings. They're new opportunities. And swords specifically are thoughts. So choosing new thought patterns, having new ideas, and it's also our will, right? So when we want to see something done, this is our will to see it through, right? This is our logic and our reasoning. And so looking at this situation from a fresh perspective of your logic and reasoning, looking at this from a fresh point of view for how to move forward and how to see the results that you want, that's what this Ace of Swords is. And I always really like to see an ace happen after the kings, because, you know, we had a king card on Sunday, then moving to Monday with an ace, right? So the king is like the end. It is the, you know, pretty bow wrapped up at the end. It's like the culmination of our mastery on a subject at the end. So, you know, I always like to see an ace afterwards because it means that we are starting again. We're starting, you know, learning new things. We're keeping the process going of learning, and we're, you know, not just staying stuck in this final energy thinking that we've mastered everything. We're opening ourselves up to new opportunities and new learning experiences. So, Scorpio, you are opening yourself up to a new experience, specifically with your thoughts and your thought patterns. Let's move on to your Tuesday card. You have the Queen of Pentacles on Tuesday. So you had the King of Pentacles on Sunday, and then Tuesday you have the Queen of Pentacles. And so, you know, you have the divine counterparts there. You actually have a second set of divine counterparts. I just noticed this. You have the Empress here and then the Emperor on Friday of week 2. So you have 2 sets of divine counterparts. So this very well could be a way that you've been dealing with your relationships, and more than just, you know, relationships with like other people, your relationship with yourself for sure. Now let's talk about the Queen of Pentacles. This is an abundant person. This is a person who has this is, you know, very similar energy to the Empress here, of being able to create, but specifically the Queen of Pentacles is that nurturing of, you know, as we said with the King of Pentacles, it's wealth, abundance, our grounding, and the things that we build our foundations on. Pentacles are like actual physical things within this world. So this is, you know, money. Money is a physical thing. Grounding and nurturing energy, being able to build and grow something, that is a physical phenomena on this realm. You know, thoughts are not something you can see, touch, and feel, but pentacles are definitely something that you can touch physically. So, growing something, building something, investing, so putting into something to see a physical return. So as we said, you know, putting into your emotional energy, putting into your household, to see a return. And, you know, with the divine counterparts, you have a good balance of the masculine and the feminine. The feminine energy is it's not necessarily gender related. You know, you can still have Queen of Pentacles energy and be a masculine person. But it's about these two opposing energies. Less masculine and feminine, and maybe more think of yin and yang, right? We have to have our push and we have to have our pull. We have to have our give and take. And so having a good balance of this give and take energy is, you know, it's balanced. It's a good way to keep the momentum going. Knowing when to push harder and to give more of yourself, and when to sit back and take and allow things to progress naturally. You know, that's, you know, a good way to balance that energy. Now let's talk about your card here on Wednesday. You have the King of Swords in reverse. So this card to me, we had the Ace of Swords on Monday, which is the beginning. And then we moved to the King of Swords on Wednesday in the reverse. So what I feel like is happening here is that I feel like you might have expected easier growth. And so this card being in the reverse, your King of Swords, I feel like maybe you expected this growth to happen a lot faster, and it's not happening immediately. You're realizing that you have to put in a lot more work. So this kind of can almost feel like a regression, but really it's not a regression. It's more of like, I guess, becoming aware of how hard this work is going to be, and, you know, expecting yourself to start from a place of mastery. You can't just do that. You have to put in the work and the practice to get to this point. So with swords, we were saying, you know, new thought patterns. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that is going to be instantly easy for you to do. You know, you've been thinking and doing and handling things the same way for a long time, and you've built that neural pathway in your brain very strongly. You know, your brain's initial response is the one that you've done the most. And so that's what you've done the most. And so you may be presented with a moment here on this Wednesday that you maybe give in to the old thought patterns, or maybe you feel like you've regressed into the old thought patterns. And it can almost feel discouraging when you are trying really hard to make changes and build yourself, and you feel this regression. But I want to encourage you to not see it as regression. I want you to see it as the opportunity to try something new and to learn from it. Even so, let me share this story really quick. When I was doing my yoga teacher training, we had a class requirement for a 40-day meditation. And we had to write in a log every day that we did meditation for 40 days. And if we missed a day, we had to start over. Well, during my teacher training, I got to like day 12 or 13 or something. And then I missed a day. And I had a really good reason for missing a day. You know, it was a very important family thing that, you know, was related to some very emotionally trying and difficult things for me. So I took a break to take care of my mental health and to take care of myself and be with my family. But by taking a break, I had to start over my 40-day meditation, right? And so, you know, I was discouraged at first because it felt like starting over from square one. It felt like starting all over again. And I was like, well, what was the point of doing this only to get back to day one? And I had this moment of realization where it was like, you know, the timer may have started again, but I have all the experience of meditation still from my previous, you know, 12 or 13 days or whatever it was. So even though that timer has still restarted, I'm still coming into this with the experience already of 13 days of meditation. And so instead of looking at it as you starting over completely, you're starting again with all of this previous experience. So maybe I'm encouraging you to think about this from that perspective of, you know, you may have not been able to, you know, put this mastery into practice. You may not have seen this moment and responded from a place of mastery like you wanted, but you have all this experience already that you can now use to practice towards the next time. And so, you know, try not to get discouraged. Think about that this is a process that is going to take a lot of practice. It's going to take a lot of work. And you're not starting from square one. You know, this is not you failing. This is not you going back in time completely and regressing 100%. This is just a challenging moment that happened for you that challenged your ability to do things differently. And, you know, now that it has happened before, when it occurs the next time, you're going to be even more aware of it. You're going to be even more aware of it because it's going to bring up, you know, hey, last time I didn't have the opportunity to try something new. But now in the future, you know, you're being presented with the opportunity to try again. You're going to remember it, and you're going to be even more likely to do the thing that you want to do the way you want to do it. So anyway, I will get off my soapbox for that. But just, you know, just some encouragement, just some thought to think about. You know, you're not starting from square one. Let's talk about your Thursday card here. You have the 7 of Cups. And this is about having multiple choices presented to you and maybe trying to figure out which one is right. And so, okay. When we have a lot of options available to us, we can get overwhelmed because we're trying to make the decision about which is best, and there's lots of ways to go, and we're so scared of choosing the wrong thing and having the wrong outcome. But the thing is that your intuition, to a certain degree, knows what choice you need to make and knows what direction you need to go. And so sometimes we have to get quiet and distance ourselves from the pressure of these decisions in order to actually hear from our intuition, we have to get quiet in order to hear from our intuition what choice we need to make. And sometimes even what happens is we hear our intuition about the choice that we need to make, and we don't like it. And so what we do is we try to pick something else. We try to move in a different direction. We say, no, I don't want to do that. That's uncomfortable. That's different. I'm going to try to find a way around this to try something else. And your higher self is like, no. That's not what I said to do. That's not how I said to do it, you know? So I would just say to take a break, take a step back from this overwhelming decision, you know, these multiple paths that you could possibly be taking. Take a step back, take a break from the decision-making process, and really think about where you want to go and really connect with your higher self, connect with your intuition, and you're going to be able to make a decision. You're going to be able to make a choice. Let's talk about the Emperor here. The Emperor in reverse, specifically. So we had the Seven of Cups, we had that decision, we had that confusion. The Emperor in reverse is about releasing control. So maybe you're trying to make all of these decisions because you're trying to, or maybe you were trying to gain control in some way, but the Emperor in reverse is telling you, hey, you can't control everything. You cannot control other people's opinions about you. You cannot control things outside of you. The only thing you have control over in your life is over yourself, over your reactions, over the things that you do, the things that you say, and, you know, understanding that no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to control other people. You're not going to be able to control the, you know, ever giant web of, you know, cause and reaction that happens within our life. You know, your anxiety about trying to maintain control over everything and never experience anything bad. That's just not realistic. And so the Emperor in reverse is you releasing that control, understanding that, you know, you don't always have to be in the driver's seat all the time. And that, you know, sometimes just allowing things to be and happen as they are, getting back to, you know, I'm going to control myself and I'm going to, you know, only focus on the things that I can do with myself about me. Getting back to that perspective, making sure that we're, you know, not over grasping onto the little pieces of control that we're trying to find. Saturday here we move on to the High Priestess. So yes, this is you, Scorpio, connecting with your intuition. This is you connecting with your highest self. So I feel like this is a very positive card for you. As I said with that Seven of Cups, taking a step back from the decision-making process, moving on to the Emperor with, you know, thinking about the things that are within your control, and listening to your higher self, listening to your intuition about the path that you need to take, listening to the guidance and the wisdom of your highest self, of things around you. That is what is going to bring you the biggest results, the biggest change, the thing that you're looking for. So I see this as a very positive step for you, Scorpio. This is you actually taking that break that I recommended with the Seven of Cups. This is actually on Saturday your opportunity to connect with and hear from your intuition so that you can do something else. So yay, thank you for following the advice and taking it and doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing the thing that, you know, it, like I said, it can be really hard when we hear something uncomfortable from our intuition about what we need to do or a step we need to take. We can get scared or overwhelmed. And so, you know, taking the time to actually listen and hear that message, that's a very big positive step for you, Scorpio. Let's get to your last card here. You have the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So, Scorpio, this is this is a very good card for you. The Five of Pentacles is usually about lack mentality. It's about feeling poor, feeling like things are happening to us outside of our control. And the Five of Pentacles in reverse is moving away from that energy. It's understanding that, you know, things are outside of my control, but I'm not as down bad as I think I am. I have actually more abundance and things available to me than what I actually, you know, than what I might initially think, right? When stuff happens to us, when we go through, negative things, it's all about perspective, right? It's about, instead of focusing on the things that we don't have, it's focusing on the things that we do have, focusing on what we can do in the here and now with what we do have to start, taking these baby steps towards this process. So, that's a healthy mentality of thinking about what we do have, what we can do with the things that we have now, and not thinking about the things that we are lacking or missing out on. So Scorpio, yeah, there's a lot of personal growth happening here, a lot of reevaluating and changing the way that we're doing things, the way that we are, internalizing and handling things on the inner level. So Scorpio, you're doing a lot of really hard inner work, and that is incredible. That is, not easy for a lot of people. So I just want to congratulate you, Scorpio. You're doing the hard work. You're doing the things that you need to be doing, even when it's a struggle. So anyway, Scorpio, I hope that this reading was helpful for you. I hope that you were able to get some guidance or maybe even some knowledge out of this, and that it's able to help you throughout these 2 weeks here. Anyway, thank you for being here today. Thanks for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.